All right, welcome to episode 2 of the Titans by 2 podcast. I am your co-host, Austin Nelson, with my man, Brett Batchelor. Brett, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing? I'm excited. I'm ready to get this thing going, man. Last week was good, and I love doing this.
Absolutely, yeah. It's fun, man. Especially talking about a team coming off a pretty dominant performance Saturday against the Panthers. What'd you think about that?
You know, dude, I thought it was really good. We talked about in last week's episode about how the first team offense struggled, and they didn't come out as hot. And boy, this week did they come out looking good. I mean, Marcus went 6 for 8 for 61 yards. Threw a nice little touchdown pass in the back corner to Delaney, which was, I mean, it was a great throw and led Delaney really to the only place where you can throw that ball. So Delaney looked good. Marcus looked good. Derrick Henry looked good again. Ended up going 16 carries for 36 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, we didn't see DeMarco. I mean, we thought we would, but, I mean, really, I don't want to force him into anything. He's good to go. But, man, I mean, we talked about that the first team offense needed to come back, and we talked about, do we think they're going to score? And they proved us right. They came out and did a lot better.
I think that's exactly what we talked about last week. We asked each other, what do you want to see for week 2? And I think we both kind of agreed on the first team on both sides of the ball to play better, and they did. They came out playing well. You saw first team offense, the first drive, came down and got a field goal, which is fine. You got points on the board. They stalled at the very end. Defense gets on the field, and you see Logan Ryan,
the
guy that had a awful week 1 of preseason, come back and make a great tackle and forces the ball out of Devin Funchess' hands with the pickup by Kevin Byard. So that was
surprise. Look who's near the ball, Kevin Byard again.
I mean, there's so much you can say about KB. It's just only going to continue to get better about him. But it was just nice to see Logan get some recognition of, making a great football play with punching that ball out. And I think, you see a lot here lately in the NFL. It happens quite a bit, more often than not now. Instead of just going for a tackle, you see defenders go after the football. We
saw Jason McCourty do a lot of that last year.
Yeah, agreed. Yes. And I don't know if they're taught that. I'm assuming you are, but the Titans do that quite a bit. And it worked out for them.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, we got the ball back from the fumble, and the Titans scored right after that. Marcus went to Delaney. It was one of those routes that when you look back at it, shout out to my guys at Titans Film Room on Twitter. They do a great job of breaking the games down and showing different plays. Marcus threw that ball as Delaney was breaking his route. He wasn't even to the ball yet. Wasn't even looking at the ball. But Delaney knew that once he broke the route and got past his defender, the ball would be there. And that ball was in the perfect spot for Delaney, and it was the only spot that he could get to it. So props to Marcus on that.
You want to talk about having trust in your receiver for knowing that he's going to break the route and run the right route, and having trust in your quarterback. You're not even out of your route yet, and you're turning around, and the ball is going to be right there where you expect it to be, in the corner of the end zone. And, it was such a good throw. Like you said, it was the only spot that it could go in, and just the trust that they have between the two is so good.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to hit on something, too. You said, Derrick Henry played well. We know DeMarco, he was supposed to play, I guess, right before the game. Malarkey said, no, forget that. There's no need for you today. Keep resting up. There's no need to aggravate the foot again. So Derrick gets 16 carries, which was a lot. It's a lot for a preseason.
It's a lot of carries.
36 yards, not a big deal.
Touchdowns.
I think he had a big run. It came back for holding. So that's probably why you see the 36 yards. But, 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
That's 14 points on the board. So
yeah, exactly.
You always be happy with a bad stat line with 2 touchdowns. It will make anybody happy. With that, another big guy that played big, in my opinion, was Trey McBride. I know you were not able to catch the game, but I'm not sure if you saw – there's a play that Castle threw to – I think the Titans were about on the 30-yard line, maybe 35. And McBride made a great play on his defender and had a dive in the end zone. And the ball went completely just straight through McBride's hands. And, dude, he was tore up about that. He was pissed.
Yeah, he was on Twitter and Snapchat about it too.
Yeah. And so he played well for us too. And that's another thing we'll talk about in coming episodes is that wide receiver battle, who's going to be those 5th and 6th spots.
Yeah.
So Those are some bright spots for us on Saturday.
Trey's really trying to make this team. I mean, because like we said, he didn't even really play receiver at all last year.
Yeah.
Based on and this year's receiving core is better. So if he didn't play receiver last year, then but he's showing what he has to offer.
Right.
I mean, in this game, he had 4 receptions for 73 yards and on 5 targets. I mean, we don't talk about Trey McBride getting 5 targets rarely. I mean, almost ever. So for him to get that shows, I think, that he's put in the work. And like they said, he's been having a really good camp. So that helps a lot. And you talked about the drop that he had. That was bad. But if you remember going back earlier in the game, Marcus was almost looking in a screen to I think it was Taywan Taylor. And it's almost like a no-look pass right to Trey McBride. And Trey caught that thing back behind his head, fell on the ground, and stayed in bounds. I think that was a big play, not only for the team, but for Trey himself, because he's showing, look, guys, I'm doing all I can do to make this team, and here's why you guys should keep me on this team.
Yeah, trust me with the football. I completely hear what you're saying now. Do you play fantasy football by chance?
I do.
Do you? I know there's a lot of Titans that, I think people are wanting to draft. I think they see the potential in the Titans offense this season. So let's play a little game here called Draft or Pass. We'll start from the top. The point guard, as Marcus likes to call himself now, which I think is a great name for him.
Yep.
Great at dishing out some dimes. Very accurate with the football. So Marcus Mariota, you drafting or passing?
I'm drafting him. Even if you don't want him to be your primary quarterback, you can probably get him a little bit in later rounds. And if your other quarterback's struggling, man, would he be a good backup to have? I mean, in 2 years in the league, he has not thrown an interception in the red zone. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, that's the pressure zone a lot of times. You're pressuring to get points on the board, and for him to not struggle down there is so good. So I'm drafting Marcus.
Yeah, I think quarterbacks, man, they're so iffy. You got the top 3. You got Big Ben. You have Aaron Rodgers, and you got Tom Brady. And those guys usually go the top, 4 or 5 rounds. Marcus is one of those guys that people are still not giving him enough love. So he might go around 10, round 11. Depends what kind of league you have. If you're in a 12-man league, Marcus is a great fantasy option. He's not savvy with the numbers. You're not going to get a 400-yard game from Marcus, not yet at least. He's the type of guy to give you 240 yards and 3 touchdowns.
With maybe no exceptions, maybe one.
Maybe a pick. But those are still great fantasy stats, depending on, what you're playing PPR or what. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm drafting Marcus. Like you said, he might not be my first quarterback taken, just depending who's on the board at the time, but I'll definitely draft Marcus for sure. Another guy, we'll go Derrick Henry. We know we talked about a lot getting more carries this season than DeMarco. You drafting or passing?
I think I got to pass on him. I do, because he's still not the primary back.
Yeah.
And unless DeMarco gets hurt again, which, I mean, he's had some nagging injuries throughout his career, but DeMarco is the primary back. DeMarco is the running back of this team. And if you draft Derrick, I mean, you're not going to get – you're going to get some, but not a whole lot, because Derrick's going to be used a lot on, like, maybe the 2nd and 5s, 3rd and 2s, and in the red zone, which he can get you those points for the touchdown. But if he's not the primary back, then I don't see the point in drafting him to make him your back on your fantasy roster.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm drafting Derrick Henry, and I think Derrick won't be one of my starting 2 backs. He won't be a flex. Derrick will be on the bench, but he'll be one of my last 3-4 picks. But the reason why I believe what Mike Mularkey says when he says that Derrick will touch the ball more this season, and I hear you. I believe, too, that DeMarco Murray is still the lead back without a doubt. There's no reason to say why he's not. But I think when you see Derrick Henry might have a game this season or a couple when he does have 16 carries and he might have like 160 yards, it's going to be hard not to keep the ball in his hands. So when you have a hot hand like that, and it's a good problem to have, Brett. It's a very good problem the Titans have in both these running backs. I'm going to draft Derrick because who knows, it might be a good matchup the Titans have that week, depending if it's a good run defense, a bad run defense, you have that problem. So I'm going to draft Derrick. Let's go to the other running back, DeMarco Murray. You drafting or passing?
I'm drafting DeMarco. I'm drafting DeMarco. Like we just said, there's no nothing to go against DeMarco to say that he's not an elite back in the league, especially when he's healthy. We definitely saw what he did in Dallas. And when he goes to Philly and has the year that he does, and then comes to Tennessee to us 1 year later and did what he did after such a bad year before. Usually when you see guys go like that, they'll continually maybe start to decline a little bit more and more. He was the leading rusher in the AFC. I mean, and in the top 5 in the league and behind our offensive line, and with the trust that he has in Marcus and the exotic smash mouth that we run, you know he's going to get the ball, and he's still so athletic. I mean, doing stuff like he did in the first game last season when he flipped over the corner against Minnesota and some of the moves he can still make, I'm drafting DeMarco Murray.
I had DeMarco in about almost every league last season. My team name in one of my leagues was DeMarco Polo. So I love DeMarco a lot. I do. This season, I'm gonna pass on DeMarco, and it's nothing against him. But I think the more weapons we have now, and the reason, like I gotta back my Henry statement up. I would much rather have Derek this season than DeMarco, because I think once Derek gets the hot hand, then he'll stay in the game longer. DeMarco, I think, like I said, the more weapons we have, the less attention DeMarco is going to get. So I think with the hot season he had last year, I don't want to put the production again on him. I don't think he'll get that much production. I don't think he'll be first in the AFC in rushing again this season. And if he is,
especially with Le'Veon Bell coming back 4 times.
Everybody else, Jay Ajayi, I mean, Melvin Gordon. There's a lot of guys. DeMarco got lucky to get to lead the AFC in rushing because Le'Veon, like I said, he missed a few games.
Right.
So if I mess this one up, so be it. But I'm gonna pass on DeMarco.
Yeah, but you know what? If you win your fantasy league with Derek on there and I have DeMarco and I lose, then hey, it's all you.
Exactly. We'll discuss it after the year, no doubt. Let's go to the wideouts, and I think I got 3 guys here that will probably be the 3 main guys that the Titans throw to this season. They'll be Marcus's best friends. Let's start with the rookie, number 5 pick, Corey Davis. You drafting or passing?
I think Corey Davis. I think I got to pass. It's so hard to bet on what rookies are going to do. I mean, if he's way down there in the draft, then maybe I go for him just because the potential that he has. He's so fast, and we know what he can do with the ball. I mean, we've heard what he can do with the ball. We saw it in college. We haven't seen it yet because he hasn't played yet. But it's just so hard to know we didn't know what Derrick Henry would be like last year, and now here we are saying we're going to draft him in fantasy over DeMarco. So, and that's nothing against you, of course. This is just
absolutely no.
This is just opinions going back and forth. So I think the fact that it's so hard to know what a rookie's going to do, unless it's something like Ezekiel Elliott, when we knew he was going to be awesome. So I think for now, maybe in the middle of the season, if he's doing good, pick him up off the waiver wire or trade him. But at the very beginning, I think I pass on him.
I think I'm going to draft him, honestly. I think when you draft the number 5 pick, you want the production to be there, and it's kind of a unique situation for him. He's not coming to a bad team where he is the guy, he is the main target, because that's not the case. There's plenty of wealth to go around in the Titans offense, but I think he's too valuable not to throw to. I mean, we saw what he did in college. I saw what he did in college. He played MTSU 2 years ago in a bowl game, and some of my best friends on the team just talked about how incredible he was, and it was stupid that he was that good on the football field, and they could not believe that this guy wasn't in the pros yet, and he was only a junior at the time. So Corey has the potential to have, I think, a freaking Pro Bowl season as a rookie. It's definitely there. I mean, Corey's the guy, and I could be so wrong about this. He could have like 400 yards this season, but I just don't see that happen. I think his deep threat is there. The Titans will now throw the ball more down the field with Taywan. And like I said, the defense is going to have such a problem guarding the Titans because they don't know what the hell to expect. If it's going to be a run from Marcus, is it going to be a play action to Delaney, or you can just throw it deep downfield to Corey Davis? It's just going to be one of those things that I think for fantasy owners, and like I said, he's not going to be one of those starting receivers. He'll be one of those last picks, but I think I would draft Corey Davis Another guy on the opposite side of him, Eric Decker, free agent pickup, and I think the Titans expect a lot from him too, to be that veteran wideout that they haven't had in a long time. I think Rashard came in last year and did more than I think a lot of us expected. Played really well for us and had big catches and big time moments. But Eric Decker, you drafted him to pass him.
I think, and I feel we've been disagreeing on something, so I think you might disagree with me again here. I'm not sure. I think that I draft him, but like way late if he's still there. If he's still there way late, then I take him. If he's gone, that's totally fine with me. But he's going to be our #1 slot receiver, and he could play your flex probably. So he can get you some good points in fantasy, especially with some of the cross routes we can have him run. And he's not going to be the deep ball that we'll throw to Rashard or Delaney or something like that, but put him at the #1 slot position and put him on some cross routes or put him on some fades, and he's going to score some touchdowns for us this year, and he's going to get us some good catches. Maybe not a whole lot of yak because he's not the biggest guy on the field. I mean, he's definitely strong. So he'll get you maybe some yak, but a nice little 4 or 5 passes across the middle of the field for 10 yards each, that can get you some nice points. So I think late in the draft, I go Eric Decker.
I'm with you. I'm drafting Eric Decker. I agree. I know I've been doing I do mock drafts for the hell of it, just to have fun with it and just to see where guys go. And it's not because it's not real. It's just one of those fake drafts that you can do off ESPN. I use ESPN. And the draft I had the other night with a bunch of my best friends, dude, Eric went in like round 6. So I think people see it too, that the Titans are going to use him. And Eric Decker's not one of these just, mediocre wide receiver names. Eric Decker still got it. And he can still play. And like you said, he'll still start in the slot. And I think with the Titans, we keep reiterating it, man. There's so many options on this offense, so the defense is going to be so shook on who to guard. And Eric's, big body, great hands, especially in the red zone. And we know Marcus loves the red zone, so I'm with you. Eric's going to be one of those good fantasy options to have. Where does he go? Just where you want him. If your receivers aren't all there, Eric's a good option to have. If you have keepers at the wide receiver position, Eric could be one of those guys that play your flex or kind of your 6th man, quote unquote, and come right off the bench. So I'm with you. I'll draft Eric Decker, and I think this next guy is going to be one of those top 4 or 5 options at the position, and that's Delaney Walker with the tight ends. So you're going to draft Delaney or pass on him?
This is the easiest one for me. This is an obvious yes. This is, for all the other names that we had mentioned, at first it was kind of like a hesitation. It's like, okay, yeah, I want to do that, or I don't want to do that. But for me, right off the top of the head, this is a yes. Personally, I think Delaney is probably a top 5 tight end in the league. He's done this for 4 years for us in Nashville now. So, Delaney is to the point now to where he could be regarded as maybe the best tight end in Titans history. I know we got Aaron Kenny from way back in the day and Frank Wycheck, but the production that Delaney has brought, and the 2 years when it just was really bad with Wisenhunt and everything like that, and when Malarkey came in and tried to fix it, even in those years, Delaney still produced.
Yeah.
Still produced with guys like Zach Meckenberger throwing him the ball. Yeah. So if you're producing with things like that and you're constantly scoring touchdowns, having over 800 yards in the season as a tight end and doing it for 3/4 seasons straight, man. And people talk about him. They talk about him compared to Greg. Like, there's comparisons like who's better, him or Greg Olsen, stuff like that. Personally, I don't know because they're both so good. But when we're talking about just Delaney and are you going to draft him, I'm taking him immediately.
Yeah, so I'm with you. Delaney's going to be one of those top fantasy options at a position. And Delaney's going anywhere from round 6 to earlier. Because tight end is one of those positions that if you don't grab your guy, you're going to be losing some value for sure. Because tight end is also a spot where there's so many young guys in the league now, just across the board. Guys like Hunter Henry, Tyler Eifert,
Jordan Reed.
There's a lot of options, but the quarterbacks for them, are they consistent? Can they always get them the ball? And I think Marcus is always getting Delaney the ball no matter what. Delaney's getting a look on every drive.
Every drive.
Most likely. Every drive. So you're going to get a catch most likely. Delaney's got to get you 8-9 catches a game. Maybe not a lot of yards, but if you're playing PPR, there's your points for him. So yeah, Delaney's a must-have in a fantasy football league for sure. So I think I went out of the 6, I went 5 out of 6 with not drafting DeMarco.
Mm-hmm.
And who's there to say? I don't know if I'll draft all these guys. Most likely not, because I want to be a Titans homer. But there's some good fantasy options on the Titans this year for sure.
Yeah, there is. There's a whole lot of good fantasy options, and even players that we maybe didn't mention. I mean, you don't get offensive linemen or anything like that, but do you take Rashard Matthews late in the draft? Because there's a chance that Rashard starts the season still as the number 1 receiver. Because if they don't want to throw Corey in there immediately, which I think they might, but the fact that Corey hasn't played in the preseason and he was out for day 1 because of I'm not calling it a holdout. It wasn't a holdout. They're just not knowing what they were saying with the words in the contract. But Rashard came in here and man, he balled out last year when he wasn't. And I liked him a lot, but he ended up with 950 yards, a lot more than what people expected him to do. So, is he a guy that you? And I will ask this to you: is Rashard a guy that you would possibly take later on in the draft?
No, I don't think so. And it's not like I keep going back over it because there's so many options the Titans have. I just don't think there's gonna be that one spot for the Titans besides Marcus that you're just gonna get so much production from that you gotta have. It's gotta be that there's gonna be that one Titan that just sticks out from the rest. It's gonna be Marcus on top, in my opinion. Maybe, like you said, I think he's still the number 1 guy too. I don't think anything's changing about that. It's still his receiving core, in my opinion. Eric just got here. Corey just got here. Taywan just got here.
Tajay is his second.
Tajay. I'm not drafting Tajay.
No.
Rashard, possibly. If my receivers go wrong, if people get hurt, I'm drafting Rashard. Or I'm going to pick him up from the waiver wire, absolutely. But I will not draft him, most likely not. There's a lot of other options out there. I
think I'm right there with you. There's so many good wide receivers in the league that, I'm with you. You take him off the waiver wire if some of your other receivers get hurt because we know that he can still produce to a degree.
Yeah. Cool. We'll segue to this week's game. I will be there. Section 108. Come home if you're there. Titans Bears Sunday. It's gonna feel like a actual regular season game. 12 o'clock. And I think Mike Mularkey's been kind of loving that.
Gets him ready for the season.
Yeah, puts you in game week mode. You're going through the motions. Practice at this time. I think that's what Jim White talked about. It's how he was going to prepare for the week is have, team meetings at this time, kind of like a regular game week. So I'm excited for it. The Bears, will be able to watch Mitchell Trubisky, a guy I think who will start week 1, maybe not if week 1, come week 3 or 4 for the Bears because Mike Glennon's just not very good. So it's kind of fun to watch Trubisky. Howard, I don't think is playing. What do you expect from the Titans? What do you want to see from the Titans in week 3 of the preseason than what you've seen from week 2 and week 1? Is there a certain player? Is there a unit you want to watch differently from anybody else? What's going on in your head?
One thing that has really not necessarily it's kind of caught me off guard is the fact that flu season has come early this year.
Yeah.
Man, David Fluellen played well last week. He did. He broke off a 53-yard run. He ended up having 10 rushes for 76 yards and a touchdown. And he's really fighting for that third spot. He wants it, kind of like Trey McBride's fighting. And so that's one thing that I'm looking for is how David's going to continue to play throughout the preseason. And another thing is how is our defense going to play against Mike Glennon, who hasn't performed to the degree that they thought he might perform so far, and then against a rookie quarterback, because we have some playmakers on defense, but a lot of guys are young. Kalen Reed's in his second year. Kevin Byard is in his second year. Dodds in his second year. Dory Jackson's a rookie. So how are these guys are they gonna step up against, I guess you can call Glennon against a veteran quarterback like Glennon, who kind of knows what he's doing even though he hasn't performed, and then against somebody that, the Bears drafted Trubisky at 2, so they really like him, and he performed well in the first preseason game. So Kalen Ryan has played good so far. Kalen Reed has played good so far. Logan Ryan stepped up last week. So how are these guys going to do against these 2 different types of quarterbacks moving on in towards the regular season?
I agree with you. Fluellen's playing great. We'll kind of hit on that next. What I want to watch this week, I know most likely from the Bears, I saw a tweet today that one of the Titans beat writers, reporter, retweeted it, I guess, for Titans fans to see. But Trubisky is going to be running with the ones most likely after halftime. So you'll still see the ones out there with Trubisky, which I think is smart. Have him, building the chemistry with the ones for the Bears. So does that mean Malarkey changes his game plan for that? Because it's only a week through the preseason. I mean,
Right.
are you waste your starters and take a chance on injury or anything like that against in preseason? I don't think so. Especially the guys that are valuable, Casey, Morgan, Arakpo. Do you play them? I doubt it. You're deep enough at those positions where you don't have to.
Yeah.
So what I want to watch is the defense specifically. Titans were up 24-10 at halftime. A blink of an eye, it's a tie game.
High ball game, yeah.
So when you're playing, Joe Webb with the Panthers, which is an incredible athletic quarterback.
He's the best third-string quarterback in the league.
Has to be. Now you're playing a rookie quarterback who wants to start and is trying to compete for a job as a rookie. He's going to try to show out. So I want to see the defense play like a full football game. I want to see them play from the first whistle to the last whistle all the way through. Does that mean they have to have a pick and a turnover on every possession? No. But at least be competitive and do not give up the big plays because McCaffrey ran all over them last week, whether it was a screen pass or just a draw up the middle. So that's what I want to look at this week.
I completely agree. And this is another team that we're playing with another good running back. Jordan Howard played well last year as a rookie for Chicago, and I think he can do well again this week. So like you said, do maybe our linebackers or our regular defensive linemen start? Maybe not. But these guys that are trying to make the team behind them, guys like Darren Bates, who if he doesn't make it on defense, he's going to be a special teamer. Yeah. But guys like Eric, not Weems, Carlson or whatever from the Colts that we signed, and guys like that, how are they going to step up against a good running back in Jordan Howard? And a big thing that I'm looking at is right at the cornerback position. We're going to see Victor Cruz, their one, against probably Logan Ryan, our one. And then guess who else is coming back to town? Good old Kendall Wright.
That's right.
Now. So he'll probably line up at the 2, right, either on Adoree Jackson or Bryce McCain. Who
you got to think, too, is Kevin White, the I guess the second-year guy from So they got some options for sure. They got a guy that I wanted the Titans to draft. His name's Adam Shaheen, a tight end. Dude's like 6'8", a grunt 2.0, massive guy from a little school in North Carolina, which I was super high on when the draft was around. So I wish the Titans would have got him. But, hey, I'm happy with John. Another thing I want to point out real quick before we segue to our last topic, I want to just give a round of applause to the special teams on Saturday. They played incredible. It was night and day from what the Titans have seen in recent years. Treywick made plays. Darren Bates made plays. Most importantly, Adoree Jackson scored a touchdown. It came back, but it gives you hope of what's going to happen every single week when he touches the ball. Adoree has the possibility, and I told you this before the show started, he could be the next Devin Hester, name a return guy. He can be the next Deshaun Jackson with Eric Weems. I mean, all these guys that had huge careers in returns. Adoree's going to be right there with him at the end of his career because every time he touches the ball, he has the chance of scoring. And you saw that on Saturday. It was just super fun to watch. So I'm super excited about that for the years to come. Last topic, we kind of hit on earlier. Your guy, David Fluellen. Flu season came early. So if you have not taken your flu shots defense, it's time to get it going. So let me hit on this real quick. In 2 games, Fluellen has, 85 yards, a touchdown, and 13 carries in 2 games. A guy that he's competing with, Khalfani Muhammad, the Titans' 7th-round pick from this year's draft, 2 carries, 4 yards. So you kind of see what the Titans are I guess, going with. I still think Khalfani makes the team. I think switched up, very small but quick. It's not hard to keep Fluellen at the 3 spot with the preseasons he's having. He broke off for a 53-yard run at the end of the game. So I'm with you, dude. Flu season's playing great, and he'll keep it up, and that 3rd spot's his.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree. as of right now, he's totally got it wrapped up. And throughout OTAs and throughout camp, at points they're like a spot for the third battle, Fluellen and Muhammad. And I was like, I don't know if I actually see that, because Flu hasn't really done a whole lot in his career so far. And we drafted Calfani, who's a speedster. I mean, man, is he fast. So I figured when they first drafted him, I was like, okay, David's probably on his way out. Calfani will scoot in. But like these other guys we've talked about, he has stepped it up and shown that he wants to make this team. And I agree with you. If David gets that third running back position, which I expect that he will now, Calfani will still make the team because of the potential and the ability that he has. But, man, like we said, he has played so good. And especially when he broke off that 53-yard run, that probably said a lot to not only him, not only the coaches, but, I mean, the fans and the people around that show, like, all right, this dude is trying. He wants to be here, and he's shown out so far.
I agree. It should be a fun game on Sunday. 86 degrees, so it's going to be nice sitting out there with the – it's not going to be as hot as it usually is, so that's going to be dope. But Titans-Bears, the 1-1 Titans plays the 1-1 Bears on Sunday, 12 o'clock, Nissan Stadium. It's a nationally televised game on Fox, so you'll be able to catch that. But you got a prediction?
I'm going to say Titans win. I do. I think we're
going to do that all year long, honestly, dude. I think we're a game that we're going to lose. I don't know.
I got this schedule behind me right here. There's a couple games that I'm skeptical about. So, yeah. But I think we'll win solely because I think the offense will continue to play well, like we saw last week, and I think those guys we talked about on defense, I think they'll step up again, and they're gonna be like, all right, Glennon hasn't played well. We're not gonna let him come in here and do this. And we're definitely not going to let a rookie quarterback come in here and do this. And like I said, defense hasn't been the strongest point, so I could be wrong about that. But I just don't really see it happening.
Yeah. All right, for Titans by 2, for ArmchairAllAmericans.com, I'm Austin Nelson. That's Brett Batchelor. We're logging off. Tighten up.